So customer support becomes actually a source of R&D. And
Definitely.
uh,
Like for
yeah.
software as a service, that's not an uncommon approach. So
Mhm.
when you have the ability to interact with a real human who is using your product, this is the best opportunity ever. Because if you even surf around the web and research how expensive that is to get a real human to evaluate the product, you will see like why we jump on every opportunity to just talk to real people. Like, oh, you are using our product. Tell us what you want.
Welcome to Let's Talk About CX, a show that will help you improve your customer experience and provide you ideas on how to amaze and delight your customers. We feature experts and authors from around the world who share their view and give you tips and tricks for great CX. And now, here's your host, Sultan Samlali.
Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About CX. My name is Sultan, and I have a real passion for customer experience. Where it started, I don't know. It might be because I grew up in Brussels, where my parents had shops. I help them on an almost daily basis, serving customers or even bringing groceries to the older ladies in the neighborhood. And customer experience is really all those small things that you do to provide a great experience to your customers, including bringing those groceries to the customer. And when we think about it, I think we have today a fantastic guest because we'll talk about that aspect actually of customer experience and shopping, everything that has to do around delivery. A recent study from Descartes shown that 16% of UK customers are satisfied with a customer service every time. 16%, one in six. Crazy. And over two-thirds of them had an issue over the last 3 months. I'm not based in the UK, but I also had a couple of them over the last few months. So today we'll discuss everything around that area. And to discuss about that, I have today Irina Poddubnaia. Irina is the founder of TrackMage. And thank you for joining, Irina.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, Sultan. I really admire everything about customer experience, and we've had uh, a lot of different experiences in the past. I mean, for the customers of TrackMage, so we set up those experiences and we help companies troubleshoot it so
Hmm.
that it creates the best results for the business. And currently, our main focus is to help creator based businesses or creator driven businesses create better experiences for their customers.
Okay. Yeah, because you started TrackMage, and TrackMage is there to provide actually a branded shipment tracking page, helping customer to understand where their package is. Is that a good understanding?
Yes, that's essentially what it is. There are a lot of additional features that the service has, and definitely it helps to create even better connection with a brand. So
Hmm.
it's not just a tracking page. It's a
Yeah.
tracking page that belongs to the brand, that is part of the store, and creates the same branded experience across all the platforms.
Okay.
Versus redirecting people to pages provided by DHL, FedEx, UPS, or whatever they are using,
Yeah. Hmm.
without any connection to the store or the brand.
Yeah. No, no, I think that's very smart. That's something we've seen Amazon do, for example. So you can, from within the Amazon app, for example, know that, and you provide that to smaller companies, and companies of all size actually can use your service,
Hmm.
provide that kind of experience.
I would just say that it's for companies that have their own store and that they don't rely on Amazon to provide the traffic for sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with Amazon, like the downside is that Amazon is not advertising your products when the customer
Mhm.
bought from you. They are advertising anything related. That could be from the
Yeah.
competitor. It could be some random product that usually gets bought with your product. So you don't really get to control that. But
Yeah.
with TrackMage or a dedicated store that you set up yourself on WooCommerce or Shopify or any other platform, you get to control what the customer sees and what they essentially buy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very smart. And how did you? I'm really interested to understand. So, Why did you start it, and how did you get to start this company?
Yeah, well, it's a long story, and the the story actually has like way back when I was young and impetuous. Like I moved to China to start a business, and it's that thing that really kind of happened. So we stumbled into this niche, and we were solving our own problem. Back
Hmm.
in China, we were the fulfillment center for our retailers, and we had to provide good experience for their customers. And we've seen that sometimes the customers they got really anxious and agitated while we were waiting for the goods, and
Hmm.
they created some refund requests, premature chargebacks. They pestered customer support 24/7. So there were all kinds of issues with that. And at some point, we just said, so why don't we just provide this information proactively without having to wait for the customer to ask, like, oh, where is my order? It's kind of
Yeah.
obvious that this information is needed. But
Hmm.
we didn't even understand at that point how impactful that is. Because we were not only preventing all those issues that I listed before, so like chargebacks, refunds, pestering customer support, we were also providing the business the opportunity to connect with the customer and also make upsells.
Hmm.
Because the customers, they don't treat this information as marketing. They usually just check the tracking page for the information. They don't
Yeah.
really expect to see additional products they might be interested in.
Yeah.
And when they do, we see the conversion. And the conversion is that while the customer is still waiting for the first order, they buy in those like from 5 to 10% of cases, they buy again without even receiving
Mm.
the first package.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So it's really using. I've seen use cases where people were using transactional messages, actually like order confirmation to put some marketing messaging. But here in this case, having that on the page, having the recommendations there is actually a pretty smart move because people
Yeah.
just click, just one click further, add to cart, pay, and then they can order the second product. Yeah, that's.
The thing, also another thing about it is that customers, when they actually have that question, they have that question daily. Like, where is my
Mhm.
order? And what about now? And what about now? And what about now? And then, like, instead of sending those emails to customer support or asking, like, some kind of our website to provide that
Mhm.
information proactively, they literally just click on the same tracking page link all the time. And when
Yeah.
they see it, they interact with social media links, they interact with products and with the brand itself. And if they
Mhm.
do have a problem or a question, it's possible to put the chat support widget on the page as well. So that's
Yeah.
where they connect. And with the last mile delivery, sometimes there are issues with customs where they need like invoices or additional information to just literally receive the package finally.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's really putting back the control into the hands of the consumer. Um, yeah. Yeah.
And it's also
And
self-service. Like
mm,
it doesn't have to
yeah.
be the brand who initiates the interaction. It can
Yeah.
be by the customer themselves without
Yeah.
having to involve any humans in that, which
Yeah.
is which is a big pro when you don't have
Yeah.
a lot of staff.
And do I need to be if I want to use that? Do I need to have high end commerce engine to do that, or can I just do that with WooCommerce and all other smaller commerce platforms?
If you could maybe clarify what do you mean by high-end e-commerce solution? So,
I mean,
uh,
like the large one, like the Hybris and the Salesforce Commerce Cloud, and you have
oh yeah,
those
that
enterprise. Yeah.
right. So with enterprise, we're still working on the integrations. Right now, we integrate with those through Zapier. So it's
Hmm.
possible to integrate via API or via Zapier, where all
Hmm.
that integration is already done for the company. But when it comes to like the lower end, we
Hmm.
integrate with Shopify and WooCommerce. We have
Okay.
an app and a plugin available for
Okay.
those platforms. So
Hmm.
it's literally a one-click install and just next, 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 and then you're set up and the system is already working. So most of the systems, like most of the systems that we implemented the deep integrations with, they support
Hmm.
all the customization out of the box. So you
Yeah.
just need to connect it to your store, and everything is magically customized. That's why
Oh
it's
wow.
TrackMage, like magic. Yeah.
Magic TrackMage. That is really interesting.
Well,
And
actually that was the first name of the service. It was Track Magic. But when we
okay.
couldn't secure the trackmagic.com, that's why we had to transition to TrackMage, which is actually a magician, so mage. But I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like, not a lot of native speakers even understand that word. But I don't know
Yeah.
why.
And the podcast is called "Let's Talk About CX." So if you go a bit higher, how would you define customer experience?
Yeah. So the customer experience is everything that happens with the customers when they are interacting with a brand. I would say
Hmm.
that customer experience includes everything the customer actually sees from the brand, like communication, like emails, web pages, any kind of custom promotion they see on social media. So that's customer experience. And then there is
Hmm.
the direct customer experience with customer support. So when the customer actually initiates a contact,
Yeah.
they get to interact with real people from real companies, or even
Hmm.
calling through phone. That's not dead
Yeah.
yet, so it still happens when customers actually call.
Yeah. And is there in customer experience a concept that you think that is being misunderstood by people? Um,
Yeah. Well, I think the most obvious would be the customer support, and the misunderstanding actually comes from the business. So the
mhm,
customer support is not a cost center; it's a
mhm,
profit center if done right.
yeah.
Because currently, I've seen a lot of businesses actually assume that okay, the less we spend on customer support, the more we automate, the better. But you
Mhm,
still need to understand that customer support creates the human connection. This is the perfect time to ask for a review from the customer. This is a perfect time to upsell the customer and to even understand some demographics related information. So who that customer is, where they come from, and why did they buy the product. Sometimes that's a challenge for marketing to gather that information. But when the
mhm,
customer support is interacting with those customers, often this information gets missed and overlooked. And like during customer support interactions, you can get a wealth of information that you don't
mhm.
get otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. And the key is really building that gap, or bridging that gap between information collected in customer support around your customers and sharing that with marketing, and the other way around. And how are you handling customer experience within TrackMage? So how are you dealing with your customers? Um,
Well, yeah. So we actually have a lot of tracking systems that help us understand how the customers interact with the interface and what we should do to make it better. So if we spot
mhm,
a problematic area, we try to improve the interface, or we try to improve how it actually behaves.
yeah.
Then there are some customers who are requesting support, and that's when we have in-depth conversations. We jump on a call with them. We actually do
Mhm,
some discovery of why they're using the system, what's the use case, what do they need. Sometimes we already have a functionality, we just present it to them.
yeah.
And if we don't have a functionality, we assess if we want to implement it or not. So
Yeah.
usually that's how it goes.
Oh, that's interesting. So you make even the so not only collecting that information for marketing, which was discussed, but it's really also about improving your product. So customer support becomes actually a source of R&D, and
Definitely.
um,
Like for
yeah.
software as a service, that's not an uncommon approach. So
Hmm.
when you have the ability to interact with a real human who is using your product, this is the best opportunity ever. Because if you even surf around the web and research how expensive that is to get a real human to evaluate the product, you will see like why we jump on every opportunity to just talk to real people. Like, oh, you are using our product. Tell us what you want. Yeah.
I know that's great. And what would be your advice to someone? I mean, you started your company, you traveled around. what would be the key learnings that you would like to share with someone thinking about, okay, I want to start a company, I want to start a SaaS company? What would be your advice for that?
Well, it doesn't really matter what company you want to start. Like it can be e-commerce, it can be software as a service. So whichever company you want to start with the audience, start with a problem that you want to solve. Because if you are just going to create a solution for a problem that is very rare or people are not really interested in, it's going to be very problematic to grow that company and really get some traction. I've
Mhm.
seen that happen a lot with some technical people when they just, oh, I developed this amazing solution. Now I just need to find the problem. Like that's so you should start from the problem, from the customers, and from marketing essentially. So you need to talk to people first before jumping in and investing a lot of time and money and effort into making it work. So
Yeah.
that would be the first thing you do.
Okay. And what would be the second thing you do?
Well, the second thing would be to get to a steady sales volume because
Mhm.
in like regardless if it's software as a service or if it's e-commerce business, you just need to get to sustainable sales so that
Mhm.
you can actually afford to hire people and not just survive in your own business with like one person self-servitude
Yeah.
because that's what used to be the problem with our first business in China, where we were just fulfilling all the orders, we were selling, we were establishing like the customer connections, and like everything was handled by us. Like,
Mhm.
and at some point we just say like, what's the point? If we were even working at a job, we would be earning more money. But
Yeah.
at that point, we just realized that to free ourselves, we need to automate as much as possible and
Mhm.
to really make it sustainable in terms of like like every period we get enough sales to sustain the company, to pay all of the bills, and continue growing the company. If
Yeah.
that calculation doesn't work, everything else doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a goodness, I think, of a SaaS model as well, having those subscriptions coming in, allowing you actually to build constantly over time, actually, your business and
Yeah,
growing the size of the wallet. Yeah. Yeah.
which actually,
That's, yeah.
like it actually brings up this interesting concept that we also explore in TrackMage, and we try to communicate to as many people as we can. It's this difference between funnel model versus
Hmm.
flywheel model. The
Yeah.
flywheel model was initially introduced by HubSpot. We just adopted it and just tried to make it more user friendly because, like again, HubSpot they explained it in like high marketing terms, and we wanted to explain it in like layman terms. So
Yeah.
in a funnel, you are treating all your customers as like, okay, this is a transaction that comes through, and like
Mhm.
only a handful of customers they convert. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's the end. And in a flywheel model, you think like, okay, I acquired this customer. What else could I sell that customer? How can I also engage with them again so that they buy again, again, and again, and tell other customers about my company or my product?
Hmm.
So this is the key difference. That's why in a flywheel model, the customer support part is just part of marketing. It's like overall cycle where the customer like once the customer gets into the infrastructure or gets into
Hmm.
the like this buying cycle,
Yeah.
we should keep them there for as long as we can.
Yeah. Okay. And that's, is that about selling subscription then, or is it about also selling additional products to the customer?
It just depends on what the primary business is. So when it
Yeah.
comes to software as a service, it's probably subscription because
Yeah.
subscription based services they tend to be more sustainable
Hmm.
than one time purchases. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes when there are lifetime deals for software as a service, they are actually sacrificing all the future profits. But
Yeah.
they need to survive now. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to e-commerce, this e-commerce subscription is a very interesting idea that not a lot of businesses utilize.
Hmm.
Birchbox was the first e-commerce subscription that was introduced on the market, and they were wildly successful. So customers, they actually want to replenish their supply of product, because, well, again, in supplement businesses, this
Mhm.
also works very well. When you are buying some vitamins or supplements, all you need to do is just remind the customer, like, oh, are you running out of the pill that you bought? Like, okay, how about you restock or replenish your supply?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
subscriptions
yeah,
are an option always.
yeah, they're an option. So I'm currently I have a subscription for coffee, for example,
Oh,
right
awesome.
now. Yeah, and that works pretty well. So every 2 weeks we get new coffee pods sent home. Don't need to bring from the store, and they're as expensive and as the one you would buy at the supermarket. And at the same time, the taste is really, really good. So I will not make advertising in that podcast, but it's an interesting one. Um, is there um, one thing you would like the listeners to take as a key learning, key thing you would like to tell them?
The key learning from the customer experience, I
Yeah.
think, would be that you need to pay attention to this part. Because what you could do is you can even mystery shop from your own company. And you will see how your customers actually experience your product, how they
Hmm.
experience your buying process. Because when I buy from other companies, I'm always very picky because I know how it's supposed to go. And
Hmm.
there was this one interesting case in my like buying history where I bought a T-shirt from a German company. I'm not gonna name them for obvious reasons. So I bought a T-shirt from them. Then I received an email that said that my purchase was sent to Belgium, not to Bulgaria. Like, say, like, okay, great. I'm not gonna get it. Like, I sent them an email. I got a bounce, like really hard bounce, like mail delivery cannot be like okay.
Oh,
I went to their website, I found their email address, the actual one. I sent them an email. No reply, no reply, no whatsoever. Okay, I found their phone number, I called them. Some autoresponder in German replied to me something because I don't understand German. And I wasn't able to communicate to a human again. When I went to the actual package, like package tracking website, it was DHL. I filed
mhm.
in like the request to redirect it from Belgium to Bulgaria, and that's when
Yeah,
I got a reply from DHL, but not from a store. Like I was really like I was very anxious, and I understood, like from the customer standpoint, that they could have just replied to my email. So
yeah.
when I didn't get a reply from all those channels that I tried to reach them through, I
Hmm.
actually went to PayPal and canceled the order. I just got a refund. And like the fun part about this is the conclusion. I received the T-shirt in 2 weeks. Like I felt bad about that. And then in 3 weeks, I received the second T-shirt. Awesome, right? It's like they lost so much money on that single order because they just simply couldn't reply to an email. So they should have just replied to my email. I wouldn't have canceled it. I would have paid them even for the extra that they sent because they were trying to fix the mistake from previous site.
Yeah.
And in the end, like this is like the cherry on top. I received an automated email from them to evaluate their customer experience and what could they. And one of the questions was, what can we fix in our process to make it better? You probably can understand what I wrote there. Like I wrote everything, like literally everything. You can fix everything. And then you're going to do that wrong.
Yeah. I think it's a powerful example on what you should not be doing. But I think the key learning really is try to order your own products and look at how it goes and how the customer experience. I think we all uh, tend to forget about it.
Yeah. And also
Everything
try
is,
to,
yeah,
yeah, also try to
and
order it from mobile,
yeah,
because a lot of customers, they have very different experience of your website if they go from the mobile. Like it's like, oh, click, doesn't work. Why this, that, oh, what?
yeah.
So
No, that's true. So really understanding the user experience across the entire line. I think it's something we we take for granted because things are automated, and so we don't need to think about it. And then we get those t-shirts experiences for the customers, which will be very angry and provide bad reviews, and then it kills the business at the end of the day. So Irina, I want to thank you for joining us today and for sharing your insights. I wish you a fantastic day. As part of those show notes, I will include your details, links to TrackMage, and also a link to try the solution and give it a try if you are active in commerce. It will probably have some very good value for you. So, Irina, thank you so much, and looking forward to speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.